The opposition leader is defending the right of media commentators to cause offence on the basis of race or ethnicity.
Tony Abbott has confirmed he will amend the Racial Discrimination Act to protect free speech. He also rejected proposals for a public interest test for media owners and says a coalition government would not proceed with a proposed new watchdog body to police journalism.
It was a controversial prosecution. Conservative commentator Andrew Bolt convicted last year of breaching the Racial Discrimination Act for questioning the Aboriginality of prominent Indigenous Australians. If Tony Abbott becomes Prime Minister, he's vowing such prosecutions won't happen. He says free speech must include the freedom to offend.
It's the freedom to write badly and rudely. It's the freedom to be obnoxious and objectionable. Speech that has to be inoffensive would be unerringly politically correct, but it would not be free.
The opposition leader has confirmed a coalition government would repeal Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act, which makes it unlawful to offend, insult, humiliate or intimidate a person or group on the grounds of race or ethnicity.
A hurt feelings test is impossible to comply with while maintaining the fearless pursuit of truth, which should be the hallmark of a society such as ours.
The Attorney-General says Section 18C protects the community from those advocating race-based violence. The Racial Discrimination Commissioner agrees.
The depiction of people in the media on the basis of their race is one area where we need to look very carefully at about not creating offence. And the question of where that threshold is something that I would welcome a discussion and debate about.
Helen Zoki says it gives people who can't afford to mount a defamation case a way to seek redress, first through the Commission and later, if necessary,
The government has unveiled its planned changes to racial discrimination law, saying soon it won't be illegal to offend, insult or humiliate someone on the basis of race.
It's added some provisions to placate the critics with mixed results.
Passions are running high.
The Abbott government wants to give bigotry his blessing in Australia.
And in defending the right to offend, Christopher Pyne took offence.
It is not acceptable for the member for Werriwa to call members of the opposition bigots.
In the interests of free speech, I will let the question stand.
The Attorney-General's put out for public discussion draft legislation to scrap Section 18C and surrounding sections of the Racial Discrimination Act.
We want the level of public discussion. We want the tone of our society to be elevated.
The changes mean it would no longer be an offence to offend, insult or humiliate on the basis of race. It would still be illegal to intimidate, but only if it causes fear of physical harm. There's a new offence of public vilification, defined as inciting hatred. But both are allowed if part of discussion on any political, social, cultural, religious, artistic, academic or scientific matter.
These are the strongest protections against racism that have ever appeared in any Commonwealth Act.
The opposition rejects that after this yesterday.
People do have a right to be bigots, you know.
I'm flabbergasted, and as a fresh politician coming into Parliament, I think we are going backwards as a nation.
This is the Andrew Bolt Protection Bill. Make no mistake about that.
The best counter to a bad argument is a good one, and the best antidote to bigotry . We need new legislation to make it easier to identify, to charge and to prosecute people who have been engaged in terrorist activities overseas, such as, for instance, by making it an offence to travel to a designated area without a valid reason. We also need legislation, which I've commissioned the Attorney to prepare, which the National Security Committee of the Cabinet has commissioned the Attorney to prepare, to ensure that we are best able to monitor potential terrorist activity in this country, obviously with the usual range of safeguards and warrants, but that will include discussions with the telecommunications providers about the retention of metadata. We're also determined to engage in ever closer consultation with communities, including the Australian Muslim community. When it comes to counter-terrorism, everyone needs to be part of Team Australia. And I have to say that the government's proposals to change 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act have become a complication in that respect. I don't want to do anything that puts our national unity at risk at this time, and so those proposals are now off the table. This is a call that I have made. It is, if you like, a leadership call that I have made after discussion with the Cabinet today. In the end, leadership is about preserving national unity on the essentials, and that's why I've taken this decision.